I don't know what your idea of a dream home looks like, but for me, it was a log cabin in the North Carolina mountains. Fresh air, wide open skies, and finally no one telling me where I can park or how high my mailbox should be. But turns out, dreams come with HOA fine print. Literal fine print. At 1 o'clock in the morning, with fake cops and a 13-year-old kid who ended up doing something none of us saw coming. If you've ever dealt with a power-hungry neighbor or just want to scream into the void about HOA madness, drop in the comments. I'll be right there with you. The Coleman family, me, my wife Rachel, and our 13-year-old son Eli, had just moved into this gorgeous log cabin nestled in the North Carolina mountains. After years crammed into city apartments, this felt like hitting the jackpot. Wraparound porches, towering pine trees, neighbors who actually wave from their yards. Finally, Rachel sighed as we unpacked, somewhere we can actually breathe. I was thinking the same thing as I watched Eli explore the property, that huge grin stretched across his face. The kid had spent his whole life cooped up in cramped apartments. Now he had acres to roam. Rachel took a photo of Eli smiling on the porch and whispered, "I hope this lasts." I didn't say it out loud, but I hoped the same thing, maybe too much. Looking back, I should have known that kind of happiness was too perfect to last. I mean, when does life ever hand you a perfect moment without hiding a catch just around the corner? Day one. We hadn't even finished unloading the moving truck when she appeared. Donna Beckett, mid-50s, clothes ironed sharp enough to cut glass. Clipboard clutched like a weapon. "Welcome to Whispering Pines," she announced with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "I'm your HOA president." The way she said it, you'd think she just introduced herself as Queen of the Universe. I wasn't sure if I was overreacting, but something about her tone tripped every alarm bell in my head. Maybe it was my background in home security consulting. I install cameras and alarms for a living, but I've learned to trust my gut when someone gives off controlling vibes. Donna was radiating control issues from 50 feet away. She whipped out this massive binder labeled Community Standards Manual. I'm talking phone book thick, page after page of restrictions no one mentioned when we bought the place. Mailbox height down to the 1/4 inch. Approved paint colors that look like hospital beige, where you can water your plants. What curtain styles are street visible appropriate? I'm flipping through this thing thinking, seriously? Curtain styles? The level of micromanagement was actually breathtaking. These guidelines ensure our community maintains its property values and aesthetic standards. She explained like she was doing us some enormous favor. I caught Rachel's eye over Donna's shoulder. Her expression mirrored mine exactly. What the hell did we just move into? We put up a simple basketball hoop for Eli. The kid finally had space to shoot hoops, right? Wrong. 48 hours later, a violation notice gets taped to our door like we're criminals. Unauthorized recreational equipment visible from street view. Fine, $200. $200 for a basketball hoop. For a second, I actually questioned whether we were in the wrong. Maybe I missed something in the fine print. Maybe this wasn't our fresh start after all. I called the number on the notice to dispute it. And who answers? Donna, speaking in this sickeningly sweet voice about how community standards must be maintained for everyone's benefit. I wish I could tell you I kept my cool, but come on, who wouldn't snap? Here's where it gets crazy. The next morning, we wake up, and the basketball hoop is gone. Gone. Vanished like it never existed. In its place, another note. Violation corrected. Fine doubled to $400. Someone came onto our property in the middle of the night and stole our kid's basketball hoop. Let that sink in. I'm standing there in my pajamas, staring at the empty spot where it used to be, wondering if I've lost my mind. Did someone seriously trespass and steal from us because of some made-up HOA rule? It was so extreme, I actually wondered if it was a prank. But then Eli came outside, saw the empty space, and the look on his face told me this was no joke. Later that evening, Eli pulled me aside, voice barely above a whisper. "Dad, I saw someone watching our house last night. They had binoculars." The fear in his eyes hit me like a punch to the gut. My kid was scared, in his own home, because some neighbor thought they were running a police state. And he wasn't imagining it. His voice cracked in that way kids' voices do when they're trying not to cry. That night, I barely slept. Just sat in the dark, watching. I knelt down to Eli's level and asked him to tell me exactly what he saw. He described a figure standing across the street around midnight, holding binoculars, watching our house for 20 minutes, then disappearing. Looking back, I still can't believe I didn't immediately call the cops. But at the time, I was still trying to convince myself this was just some overzealous HOA president who'd eventually cool off. That night, staring at that latest violation notice, one question kept eating at me. Was Donna just a control freak? Or had we just gone to war with a dictator who would do anything to stay in power? The violation notices started coming like clockwork. Every few days, another ridiculous citation taped to our door like some twisted advent calendar. Grass a quarter inch over regulation height. I actually measured, it wasn't. Welcome mat deemed non-compliant because it was blue instead of brown. Trash can visible for 3 minutes past pickup time. I was 30 seconds late rolling it in. I don't even know why I kept measuring and timing everything. I guess I thought that documenting it would somehow make sense of this madness. But seriously, did she have nothing better to do than monitor my trash can with a stopwatch? She was spending more time watching our house than we were actually living in it. One afternoon, I'm washing my car in the driveway, and I spot her, standing across the street, arms crossed, studying our home like she was waiting for it to blink wrong. When our eyes met, she didn't even look embarrassed. She gave me a mocking little wave and kept watching. The audacity was breathtaking. I actually froze, wondering, was she just shameless or truly delusional? Most people would at least pretend they weren't spying, but not Donna. She wore it like a badge of honor, as if surveillance was her civic duty. Part of me wanted to march over and demand answers, but my security training kicked in, document everything. Don't confront. Then things escalated. At 2 a.m. one night, I check our mailbox and find a handwritten note. Non-compliant residents will be removed. No signature, but the handwriting matched every violation notice we'd received. Someone was threatening us in the middle of the night. This had gone way past petty HOA nonsense. There was a cold weight in my stomach that just wouldn't go away. I couldn't understand it. Why would someone go to these lengths over a basketball hoop and some grass? But the handwriting didn't lie. We weren't just dealing with a power trip anymore. This was something darker, and I was starting to realize we might actually be in danger. So I started digging. I pulled up the community bylaws online and cross-referenced them with every violation Donna had sent. What I found, mind-blowing. Half the rules she cited didn't even exist. She was literally making them up. Mailbox height, no official standard. Paint color restrictions, never voted on. Grass length requirements, fabricated. It was all stuff she'd added to her personal enforcement handbook, not actual HOA law. Looking back, I should have seen it sooner. No legitimate HOA has rules about welcome mat color. But I wanted to believe she was just a stickler, not a fraud. Maybe I was too trusting, or maybe I just couldn't believe anyone would lie this brazenly. Then one night, an email popped in my inbox. No name, just this. Check the community forum archives. You're not her first target. The sender used an obviously fake name, but included specific dates for me to check. And what I found in those old community forum archives, it made my blood run cold. From 2019 through 2023, different families had posted eerily similar complaints. Escalating fines for made-up violations, nighttime harassment, property theft, and every single story ended the same way. The family sold their home and fled within 6 to 8 months. I wasn't sure if I was being paranoid, but the pattern was undeniable. This wasn't just random HOA overreach. This was a systematic campaign deliberately designed to drive people out. And we were just the newest targets. The anonymous emailer had laid it all out for me, a roadmap of everything Donna had done before and where we were on the timeline. Apparently, we were right on schedule for the next level of harassment. And sure enough, the next violation notice arrived like clockwork. $800 in accumulated fines with a 48-hour deadline, or we'd face legal enforcement action. $800 for allegedly long grass and a welcome mat in the wrong color. At first, I actually laughed. The absurdity was off the charts. Except, it wasn't funny at all. Donna was trying to financially terrorize us into submission. And honestly, It had probably worked on every family before us. How many others had paid those outrageous fines just to make the nightmare stop? I even caught myself Googling, "Can you survive living under a bad HOA?" That's how low I'd sunk. That night, Rachel looked at me and said quietly, "Maybe we should just pay it. Follow her rules. Keep our heads down. Is this fight really worth it?" And I could see it in her eyes, the exhaustion, the stress, the quiet defeat. That's exactly what Donna wanted. Fear and submission. Eli started closing his curtains every night, even in the middle of summer. Rachel stopped unpacking the last few boxes. It was like we couldn't admit out loud that we might have made a mistake moving here. And a part of me started to wonder if Rachel was right. Maybe we should just pay the damn money and try to fly under the radar. But then I thought about Eli, scared his own home, and about all those other families who didn't have the resources or knowledge to fight back. Looking back, I still can't believe I was seriously considering giving in to extortion just for some peace. The psychological pressure was relentless. That night, as I sorted through our growing file of evidence, a terrifying thought crept in. Was I building a legal defense against a neighborhood bully, or walking my family into a trap where Donna would escalate to something dangerous? It was time to flip the script. I drafted a formal letter, professional, civil, and legally bulletproof. I cited the official HOA bylaws, carefully listed every inconsistency in Donna's bogus violations, and requested an emergency board meeting to address what I politely called unauthorized enforcement practices and documentation discrepancies. I spent hours on it, every word chosen carefully, respectful but firm. I probably overthought it, but I wanted to give her every chance to back down gracefully before things got ugly. Maybe I should have been more direct. I don't know, but I had a gut feeling if this ended up in court or with law enforcement, I needed a paper trail that showed I had tried everything the right way. Donna's response? She canceled the meeting before it could be scheduled and fired back an ultimatum. Pay $2,000 in accumulated violations within 24 hours or face intervention by the sheriff's department for continued community disruption. $2,000 for imaginary rule violations. I had to read that email 3 times. She went from $800 to $2,000 just because I sent a professional letter. Did she seriously think threatening fake law enforcement would intimidate someone who installs security systems for a living? Either she was totally delusional or getting desperate. Either way, she made a massive mistake. She put her threats in writing. Now it was time to get strategic. I stared at the phone for 10 minutes before dialing. What if I pushed too hard? What if this made things worse? Still, I called Donna directly, calm, professional, and made sure my recording gear was running. I'd be very interested to meet this sheriff contact, I said, sounding curious, not confrontational, especially since county records show no such enforcement division exists. I was fishing, hoping she'd take the bait. Silence. 10 full seconds of it. Then she snapped. "My cousin Rick works security and enforcement," she screamed. "All right. He'll be happy to explain community compliance to you personally. We handle problem residents our way around here." Bingo. She just admitted, on a recorded line, that her cousin would pose as law enforcement to intimidate residents. I wish I could say I saw it coming. Honestly, I expected her to back down when confronted with facts. Instead, she doubled down so hard, she basically handed me a confession. Was she really that reckless? That confident no one would challenge her? But there it was, clear as day. Donna, planning to send fake cops to our home. That call confirmed everything I feared. Donna was preparing to escalate, possibly to physical intimidation, using fake authority figures. I wasn't taking chances anymore. I enhanced our system. More motion sensors, better audio capture, night vision cameras, full perimeter coverage. This wasn't just home protection anymore. This was evidence gathering. All the skills I used to protect other people's homes, now deployed to protect my own. The irony wasn't lost on me. At the grocery store, people started avoiding us. Neighbors I'd spoken to just last week were turning their carts around. One woman who'd once brought us cookies crossed the street when she saw me. Word was getting around that we were fighting back. One neighbor, out walking her dog, whispered, "Just pay the fines, honey." Fighting her never ends well. The fear in her voice told me everything I needed to know. How long had Donna been terrorizing this community? How many families had she driven away with the same tactics? I realized then, we weren't just fighting for ourselves anymore. We were fighting for every person who'd been too afraid or unable to stand up. But the isolation was real, and it was wearing on Rachel and Eli. A new neighbor moved in a few blocks over. I walked over to introduce myself. She froze. Later, Eli found a flyer in our mailbox. Non-compliant residents create hostile living environments. Our address was printed in bold. Then, during my research, I found something that made everything click. Donna's family construction company had landed every single community maintenance contract for the past 5 years, charging 40% over market rate. Coincidence? Not chance. This wasn't just about control. This was about money. Donna was running a protection racket disguised as an HOA. Drive families out, create fake violations, generate maintenance needs. Then her family swoops in with the overpriced solution. We were the first ones stubborn enough to document it all instead of just running away. When Rachel asked if I thought Donna would actually go through with her threats, I told her the truth. She's cornered. Bullies like her double down when someone pushes back. But inside, I was asking myself, am I putting my family in danger by standing our ground? What if Donna really was unhinged enough to send fake cops to our door? Looking back, I should have called the real police the moment she threatened fake officers. But I was still hoping deep down that she'd stop. That night, I ran one final systems check. Everything was in place. Every angle covered. Every sensor active. But I couldn't shake the gut feeling that we were about to reach a tipping point. That Donna's next move would either end this, or take it to a level we weren't prepared for. Then, at 1 a.m., the motion sensors lit up like air raid sirens. Bang, bang, bang. Sheriff's Department. Open up immediately. We have multiple complaints about this property. My heart was pounding, but years of protecting other people's homes had prepared me for this moment. Real cops don't sound like this. The tone was wrong. The rhythm was off. And law enforcement doesn't show up at 1 a.m. for HOA violations. Not without paperwork. Not without warning. I moved quickly to the control panel. Every camera recording. Every mic capturing clean audio. Whatever was about to happen, we were going to have undeniable evidence. And there he was, Rick Sanders, Donna's cousin, wearing a cheap, ill-fitting security uniform, like something off a costume rack. A plastic badge on his chest gleaming like a disco ball under the porch light. Even from the feed, it was obviously fake. Behind him stands Donna, flashlight in one hand, clipboard in the other, like she's directing a military raid. I have to bite my tongue to keep from laughing. Seriously, did they really think this costume party routine would fool anyone? The badge is obviously fake. I can literally see a price tag still hanging off the back. They're either completely delusional or so desperate they've convinced themselves this ridiculous plan might actually work. We're here to inspect for community violations and remove unauthorized items, Rick Bellows announces, trying to sound like some kind of official agent. He sounds more like a kid playing dress-up. You have 30 seconds to open this door voluntarily, or we'll be forced to make entry. Forced entry. 4 HOA violations. These people have lost their damn minds. I call through the window, keeping my voice calm and measured. We'll need to see official warrants and proper identification before opening the door. Let them dig their own legal grave while the cameras roll. The silence that follows says everything. They weren't expecting anyone to challenge their authority. Most people probably just open the door and panic when someone claims to be law enforcement. But my background in home security taught me. Always verify. Always document. Never assume a badge is real just because someone's wearing it. Rachel's hands are trembling as she dials. She looks at me, not afraid of me, but afraid for me. Like she's worried I'm going to do something reckless. Her other hand is gripping the edge of the kitchen island like she needs it to keep from floating away. Every logical part of me is saying, stay calm, document it, get the footage. But there's a fire in my chest, husband, father, protector, screaming to throw that door open and end this circus now. Eli's awake now, standing in his doorway. His eyes are wide, scared, but steady. "Dad, are those real police?" he whispers. "No, son," I tell him. "Real police follow procedures. They don't threaten to break into homes over garden gnomes and basketball hoops." I should have said more. Should have told him it would be okay. But I couldn't, because our front porch had just become a live crime scene, and I needed to stay sharp. Rick tries the door handle, and he starts pushing on it like he's actually going to force his way in. "We don't need warrants for community compliance checks," he yells. The desperation is showing now. "Open up, or we're coming in anyway." The legal ignorance would be hilarious if it wasn't so dangerous. Because even if they're not real cops, they're still threatening to commit breaking and entering. And my 13-year-old is watching all of it. What would you do if fake police try to bust into your home at 1 a.m.? Fight back? Hide? Hope they leave? My instinct is to protect my family. But I also know one wrong move and I'm the headline. The cameras will show what really happened, as long as I don't give them an excuse. Then Eli reappears, holding his Nerf blaster. It's a realistic-looking toy gun with LED lights and sound effects. He'd been playing with it earlier, and in the chaos, it looks real enough to startle someone who's not thinking clearly. The kid's scared, but there's a fire in his eyes. Something between pride and terror. "I'm going to help," he whispers. Before I can stop him, he's already moving toward the door. I should have stopped him. Should have said no. But maybe he needed this to feel like he could stand up too, to fight back in his own way. Honestly, his toy might be more effective than anything real in this moment. Loud, bright, harmless, but just threatening enough to make idiots flinch. Rick throws his shoulder into the door like some kind of discount action hero. And that's when Eli makes his move. He opens the door just wide enough to poke the Nerf blaster through. "Get away from our house." His voice is firm, loud, braver than I've ever heard it. He pulls the trigger. Pew, pew, pew. Flashing lights and sound effects erupt in all directions. Rick stumbles backward so hard he nearly falls. His badge flies off, clattering to the porch with a hollow plastic rattle. The Party City tag flutters in the air like confetti from a clown show. Perfect evidence. Donna is screaming something incoherent, but it ends with, "You'll pay for this." And then they run. Rick trips on the step, cursing and trying to hold up his pants. Donna's already halfway to the car, her flashlight bouncing off the gravel and into a ditch. She doesn't even stop to pick it up. They're humiliated, shaken, completely defeated by a 13-year-old with a toy gun. I almost laugh, but instead I start tagging the footage. Rick at the door, Rick pushing the frame, Donna giving hand signals. Door opens, Nerf gun fires, fake badge falls, retreat, high def, time-stamped, multi-angle. If I were on the other side of this case, I'd call it the most self-incriminating footage in HOA history. Eli's standing there, breathing hard. The Nerf gun dangles loose in his grip. "Did I do the right thing?" he asks. He's still riding the adrenaline. "You protected your family when grown adults tried to scare us with fake authority," I say, wrapping an arm around his shoulder. That took real courage. And sometimes, even a toy is enough when you use it for the right reason. That night, he didn't go back to his room. He curled up on the floor next to my side of the bed, still holding the blaster. And I let him stay there. Because honestly, I didn't want him far from me either. I stayed up long after the house went quiet, rewatching the footage. Rick's badge falling like a Halloween prop. Donna screaming. My son doing what grown-ups were too afraid to do. And beneath the pride, something else churned. What kind of neighborhood have we moved into where a child has to defend his home from adults dressed as law enforcement? That can't be normal. That shouldn't be acceptable. And deep down I knew this wasn't over. This was just the beginning. Because now, we had the footage, the evidence, the truth. Donna's little reign of clipboard terror had just shifted from laughable to criminal. Within 48 hours, I request a special board meeting, citing criminal behavior by the HOA president. I don't reveal what evidence I have. I want impact. The meeting is set for 7 p.m. at the community center. Word spreads like wildfire. Neighbors are buzzing. Some are loyal to Donna. Others are cautiously curious. A few brave souls approach me quietly, with stories of their own. Fines for bird feeders. Surveillance notices over garden chairs. Wind chimes deemed audibly disruptive. The community center is packed. Folding chairs line the aisles. People stand along the walls. The tension is electric. Donna arrives early, flanked by Rick, still in parts of that fake uniform, like it's his lucky charm. Badge crooked, belt too loose. Patches don't even match. Donna, meanwhile, is in full performance mode. Chin high, clipboard pressed like a shield, righteous indignation radiating off her. She launches right in, paints us as dangerous residents who attacked HOA enforcement officers. Her voice trembles on cue. Her eyes glisten. She calls us unstable, aggressive. Says we trained our son to use weapons. If I didn't have the footage, even I might believe her. She accuses us of psychological warfare against the HOA. Then Rick takes the floor, still in costume, still committed. He describes our ambush like a military op, calls Eli's Nerf gun an electronic projectile device. He says he barely escaped with his life. Someone actually snorts out loud. The cracks are showing. Every lie makes more people shift in their seats. Finally, my turn. No drama, no anger. I walk to the front, open my laptop, connect it to the projector. I think the footage will speak for itself. I hit play. The room goes silent. On screen, Rick, the badge, Donna directing, the Nerf gun, the retreat, the plastic badge hitting the porch. Gasps ripple through the audience. What the hell? Oh my God. Then the audio recording. Donna's voice clear as crystal. My cousin Rick works security. He'll explain community compliance personally. We handle problem residents our way around here. That line hits like a grenade. The board members freeze. Sandra covers her mouth. Mark blinks rapidly. Donna, someone says, voice tight. You brought someone impersonating law enforcement to a resident's home? That's not enforcement. Another snaps. That's criminal harassment. Donna falters, tries to speak, but finds no one on her side. Even Rick is backing toward the wall, clutching his badge like it still means something. And then he breaks. Okay, he blurts out. The uniform wasn't real. I borrowed it from my job at the outlet mall. She gave me $200. Said it was just to scare him. His voice shakes. I didn't know the kid had a blaster. I didn't think. Turns out, this wasn't their first time. Other families, other visits. Some left. None had footage until now. I show final documentation. 5 families. For years. Fines. Threats. Properties later adjusted. A pattern. Clear as day. The vote isn't close. Donna is suspended pending criminal investigation. Local law enforcement is notified. As Donna storms out, someone shouts, "What about the Garcias?" Another adds, "The Johnsons left after a night visit, didn't they?" She doesn't answer. Her heels echo like gunfire on tile. Rick trails behind her, holding the fake badge like it still matters. As their car disappears down the mountain road, I exhale for the first time in months. We didn't just survive. We won. But looking around at the stunned faces, the silent crowd, I know, this was only the surface. Donna won't go quietly. Not after this. And next time, she might come back smarter. And with backup, absolutely. Here's a rewritten version of your extended narrative that keeps every major detail and event intact, while sharpening the flow, tightening the structure, and enhancing emotional impact. This version maintains the same tone, part suspense, part community justice story, part heartfelt family journey, but is more polished for storytelling, whether for a video script, podcast, or article. Not by a long shot. If anything, she was just getting started. And next time, she wouldn't come with a clipboard and Rick. She'd come back with lawyers, or worse. Within a week, local news stations were receiving slick press releases on professional letterhead. The new narrative? Donna was a dedicated community volunteer, unfairly targeted by aggressive newcomers who weaponized their child against neighborhood officials. Her PR firm spun the story harder than a tornado. But thankfully, video doesn't lie the way a press release can. They might have convinced people, if not for the security footage of Rick in a Party City badge trying to break into our house at 1 a.m. She really thought she could spin impersonating law enforcement into community service? The releases came loaded with fake testimonials, concerned neighbors claiming we were the aggressors. It escalated quickly into pure panic mode. Now Donna was claiming our video was deepfake technology fabricated by tech-savvy, disgruntled residents. She was seriously suggesting we had digitally forged high-definition surveillance footage of her cousin in a fake police uniform. It would have been laughable if it wasn't so pathetic. I probably should have felt sorry for her. But it's hard to feel sympathy for someone who terrorized children and elderly residents for personal profit. Her social media posts grew more unhinged. Wild accusations, conspiracy theories, even claiming we were part of an organized plot to ruin her family's business. Meanwhile, Eli came home from school, unusually quiet. Some kid said I pulled a gun on a cop. He mumbled, hoodie pulled tight. That hit hard. This wasn't just about clearing our name anymore. It was about protecting our son. The digital war escalated fast. Donna's team fought to get the video removed from every platform. They claimed it violated privacy laws, filed bogus copyright strikes, even argued that it endangered Rick's safety by showing his identity. But the internet fights back. Every time they got one copy taken down, 3 more popped up, some with clown music, others translated into multiple languages. The internet didn't just remember, it multiplied. Donna's denial was now viral, and no PR firm on earth could spin their way out of that. Then a regional journalist reached out. She'd seen our viral clip. Turns out she'd been working on an investigative series on HOA abuse across 3 counties, and our story was exactly what she needed: clear, documented evidence. This reporter didn't play around. Within days, she uncovered financial records showing Donna's family construction company had received every single repair contract in our community for 5 years, at prices 30 to 40% above market rate. What started as a personal nightmare suddenly became part of a major fraud case. Her expose hit the front page. HOA president's family profits while residents suffer. Our video became Exhibit A. But it didn't stop there. The reporter found 7 families who'd been harassed into leaving, all during the same years that Donna's company was raking in inflated repair fees. The pattern was chilling. Harass, force a sale, profit, repeat. Soon, more families came forward with horror stories. Escalating fines for fake violations, nighttime surveillance, property theft, psychological warfare, all designed to force people out of their homes. Dozens of families, hundreds of thousands in fake fines, a community living in fear. The numbers added up: over $200,000 in inflated contracts, funded by targeted harassment and forced sales. The DA launched a criminal investigation. Then the state attorney general stepped in, potential mail fraud related to fake notices. And yes, even the FBI got involved, exploring racketeering charges. What started as a neighborhood nuisance had turned into a multi-agency criminal case. Donna's empire was collapsing faster than she could hire lawyers. During a live news interview, a reporter pulled out a still from our footage. Rick mid-break-in, Party City badge dangling midair. Donna froze. Her smile cracked. No comment, she muttered, walking off camera. That clip ran on the evening news twice. Neighbors who'd lived in fear for years started speaking out. Elderly residents driven into anxiety. Families bankrupted by legal fees. Children too scared to play outside. The floodgates had opened. The community began to heal fast. Property values stopped plummeting. Families who'd been planning to move decided to stay. We elected a new HOA president by a landslide, someone who actually believed in serving the community. Donna's fake rules were repealed overnight. Not only did we get to keep our basketball hoop, we installed a whole playground for the neighborhood kids. Neighbors we hadn't even met brought over cookies and said, "I didn't know how bad it was." I'm sorry. It felt like the first breath of real air in months. But the story wasn't over. 6 months later, we were sitting in a courtroom, watching Donna maintain her innocence to the bitter end. Her lawyer painted her as a misunderstood volunteer. But the video didn't lie. Neither did the financial records. When the prosecutor played our footage on the courtroom screen, Rick's fake badge falling, Donna directing like a general, both of them running after being startled by a toy gun, it felt even more surreal. Rick had taken a plea deal in exchange for testimony, and what he shared was staggering. 5 years of orchestrated harassment campaigns, fake citations, nighttime trespassing, a systematic effort to drive families out and cash in. Then the former HOA treasurer took the stand. Trembling, she testified. Donna threatened to ruin my son's career if I didn't approve the construction contracts. I was too scared to say anything. It was all there in the records. Over $200,000 in profits from community repairs. What we experienced, just one chapter in a years-long criminal enterprise masquerading as neighborhood governance. The judge allowed Eli to give an impact statement. I've never been prouder of him. She made us scared to live in our own house, he said, steady and brave. No one should have that kind of power over people. Donna refused to look at him, just stared at the floor like a scolded child. The courtroom was silent. A few jurors wiped their eyes. The verdict? Guilty on all counts. Fraud, harassment, conspiracy, police impersonation. Donna was sentenced to 18 months in prison, ordered to pay $50,000 in restitution, and permanently banned from any HOA leadership. Rick received 6 months in community service. Justice. Finally, and the healing continued. Our property, once the target of nonstop complaints, became a hub for real community life. Eli, he became a neighborhood hero to kids and adults alike. One Saturday, I found him showing a group of second graders how to rig motion sensors to squirt water at suspicious clipboard activity. The playground buzzed with life. Kids laughed where fear once lived. Donna, forced to sell her mansion. Her construction company lost every contract. The money flowed back to the people she exploited. Even the neighborhood Facebook group changed, from HOA complaints to bake sales and block party invites. Our story inspired HOA reform in 3 counties. Residents in other communities voted out authoritarian boards. They built oversight systems to make sure no Donna could rise again. One local paper ran a headline: "The kid who ended the clipboard cult." Honestly, Eli kind of loves that. I tell people this wasn't about destroying Donna. She did that to herself, the moment she chose power over people. The real lesson? If you're facing an HOA bully or any kind of neighbor harassment, document everything. Don't face it alone. Build your evidence. Find allies. Truth rises when you refuse to be silenced. Sometimes, all it takes is a camera, a Nerf gun, and the courage to say, "Not here. Not anymore." Maybe Eli didn't fire a real weapon that night, but that foam dart, it brought down a neighborhood tyrant and changed everything. If this story gave you chills, made you laugh, or reminded you of your own HOA nightmare, drop a comment. I read every one. Hit like and subscribe if you want more true stories like this. And if you want to support the channel, there's a thanks button below. It helps more than you know. Until next time, stay safe, stay loud, and never underestimate what one determined kid with foam darts can do.